Now, some people felt really sad inside when I said verbal deflections, like a reflexive use of "it depends" or "yes and no" in response to a valid point, meant that somebody had a disorganized thinking process and was just disagreeing to be disagreeable in most cases. Some people really got mad about that because they think that that meant I said anyone who ever says "it depends" or "yes and no" ever at any point for any reason forever the end must not be thinking clearly. But here's my challenge to you on that, right? So the next time you make a valid observation or say something that you know is generally true and somebody responds with "it depends" or "yes and no" or "it's situational," see what they follow that up with. People who know what they're doing will follow that up by agreeing with the true statement that's generally true and providing specific examples. For example, if they say "it depends," they'll tell you what it depends on and in what situations, and crucially, they'll tell you whether or not that applies to the situation you're talking about now. Most people won't do that. They'll say "it depends" or "yes and no" or "it's situational" because their thinking process is kind of disorganized, and it allows them to avoid being accountable. It allows them to avoid being decisive, and it allows them to criticize other people's positions and arguments without making any of their own. And you will be surprised how common that is, no matter where you go and no matter what the interpersonal interaction is. So people want to respond with "it depends" or "yes and no." Fine, no problem. What's it depend on, and how does that apply to this issue? Yes and no? No problem. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with, and why? And how does it apply to the situation here? I think what you'll find is when you try to pursue those follow-ups, people won't be able to do any of those things. And you'll see exactly the response that I'm illustrating for you today, is that people will respond with "yes and no" or "it depends" or something like that. And when you push them, they won't acknowledge the general point you're making that is true, and they won't be able to tell you exactly what it depends on and why. And that is a reliable sign of disorganized thinking, and it comes from an inability or unwillingness to be accountable or to be decisive. And it is absolutely terrible for making good decisions. So don't take my word for it. Try it yourself. Tell me what you think.